Hey Josh, thanks for being here today, sharing your story. I think a lot of people are really going to benefit from hearing what God has done in your life, to hear your rescue story. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity. I grew up in Waresboro. I had a really good childhood. Married my high school sweetheart at 18 years old. Around 15, I started messing around with marijuana with my friends, of course, being cool. That rocked on. We had a child. We had my son at the age of 18. After that, I started messing around with a little bit harder drugs, whatever was cool at the time, whatever my friends was doing. We started messing with cocaine, and around 99, I OD'd on cocaine. And straightened up for a couple years. 2003, we had a beautiful baby girl. I started a business, started Dependable Lawn Care on St. Simons Island. Everything was going good, except my drug use. My drug use had escalated. I was keeping it kind of hidden. Everything looked good from the outside looking in, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. We was living in Brunswick. I was running my business. I was working 7 days a week, playing poker 3 or 4 nights a week, leaving my wife at home with the kids all the time. She got homesick, got ready to move back to Waycross, so I rented a mobile home trailer here in Waycross, and I kept the house and was going to live in it throughout the week and come home on the weekends. Well, that just made my drug use and everything skyrocket. And I was running my business in the dirt, whether I knew it or not. Didn't realize it at the time, but it's not taking care of things, not living the way I was supposed to live. We moved back to Waycross. A couple months later, I was coming home on a Friday night, come home from work and had a horseshoe tournament to go to. And I come home and her and the kids was at the house, and I told them, I got in the shower, told them bye, left about 8:30. And headed to the horseshoe tournament and pulled up to the red light, and a guy tried to rob me. I didn't think he was gonna shoot me, had a gun to me. And I tried to pull off from him, and he shot me right here in the shoulder. Well, at the time, I didn't really realize it, but it paralyzed me on this side of my body, and I drove myself to the hospital. Thank the Lord, he was with me. And I got to the hospital, and I passed out, and I woke up whenever they were dragging me out of the truck.
You're not saved at this time.
I am definitely not saved at this time. I woke up in the hospital a few weeks later, and they told me that I was paralyzed on the right side of my body and that I'd probably never walk again. A couple months later, I walked out of the hospital. God had different plans for my life than me to be in a wheelchair. 6 months later, the bullet broke my back, so it was 6 months. I was about to go back to work, and I jumped on my bike, motorcycle, and I was high on pills, and I wrecked, and I lost my leg. This time when I got out of the hospital, a few months after that, I'd lost everything. My house, my business, my truck, cars, four-wheelers, boat, like everything was gone. Health, my leg, like I was in bad shape, mentally, spiritually, physically. And my drug use just got so bad because I got everything I wanted from the doctor then. I didn't have to go out and get it. The only problem was I couldn't pay my bills. I was living at home with my mom and dad, again, with my family of 4, after being an independent man since 17, raising a child since 18. A couple months later, I got my very first marijuana charge. I was actually driving a stick shift truck with a cane and an antibiotic pump on my side, running into a pick line, out buying pot. That's what kind of life I was living. So I got pulled over, got arrested, bonded right out. 2 months later, I got caught with several ounces of marijuana and a pistol. So that was a felony charge, and I bonded right out again. I hired a lawyer, kind of got out of it a little bit, and then back-to-back pill charges, boom, boom. I knew I needed help at this point. I knew I needed help. Like I was tired of, I was just tired. I was sick and tired. So I entered the drug court program, and it was a 2-year program. 4 years later, I decided I needed rehab. There was a guy in there, a buddy of mine, a crazy guy, you know, just do anything, was in there faking it till he made it. Got sent to this rehab, and he come back a changed man. I wanted what he had. And so I went. And I went with the intentions of giving my life to the Lord and seeking Him, and that's what I did for 6 months. And God had been pulling on me for a while, and I'd just been ignoring it. Finally, I gave in, and I went, and everything was, man, it was it was the best life it'd been in a long time. So I graduated rehab. 2014, February 2nd, I graduated rehab. I went back to work. I was cutting grass for someone else. February the 4th, I get a phone call at work that my daughter got shot and killed. My kids were playing with a gun, and I shouldn't have even been at my house because of the trouble that I'd been in. And from there, I got locked up for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. They let me out of jail to go to my little girl's funeral. And then I spent the next 6 months when I should have been there for my wife and my son. So this kind of threw me for a loop spiritually, mentally. I didn't know what to think. And I had a couple preachers tell me that that was God testing my faith, and my faith was new, and I didn't understand that. Today I know that God was put me in that rehab and set me down and gave me a firm foundation to stand on whenever this happened. Because if I'd have been in my drug use, there's no telling what would happen. I started using again. I didn't go back to the hard drugs. I started using marijuana again. I went back to jail. This was a year and a half later. And while I was in jail this time, I told my wife, I only had 30 days in jail. I told my wife to bring me my Bible. And she was thrilled that I told her to bring me my Bible. So I started reading my Bible again, and someone had told me about Remnant Church.
The jailer or something, was it?
I think it was a jailer or something that had mentioned Remnant. Asked me if I had ever heard of it or whatever. It was a newer church, hadn't been there for about a year, and a lot of people was getting saved, and you know, it was really good. Well, I told my wife, I said, look, in a couple of months when I get out, there's a church I want to try. It's called Remnant Church. I said, okay, cool, you know, we'll try it. This was in 2016, August 2016. I got out of, a week before I got out of jail, I called home and my wife said, I was invited to Remnant Church by one of my friends. I want to go this weekend. I said, awesome, tell me how you like it. Well, she came home and she loved it. She said, next weekend when you get out, you gotta go try it. I said, okay, cool. So we went, I met you, you know, that day. And we've been here ever since. That's when my life really started to change. That's when I started seeing my wife love the Lord. And that's really when I began to love the Lord again after that happened with my daughter. We started going to New Believers right away. We got invited to New Believers, started going to New Believers. We learned who we was in Christ. We rededicated our lives to Christ here. We become members of the church. We become connectors, and then we become connector leaders. Today, I sit here. I'm the director of Celebrate Recovery. I sit on the board of the church. I own a business. I just bought a new truck. We're homeowners. I'm blessed more than I deserve. Everything that I lost, that I gave away, that I allowed the enemy to take, God has restored. I'll never get my daughter back, but I can go where she's at. And that's our plans. And that's what gives us hope. And through everything that we've been through, we realize that God's been there the whole time, and we give him all the glory. And this is our rescue story.